Welcome at Pizza and More. From time to time I got questions how to freeze pizza dough and if it is possible to freeze pizza dough. Yeah, I'm Juergen and I want to show you right now how to freeze the pizza dough, how to thaw the dough, and of course at the end we bake a pizza from the dough which was frozen and thawed. It could always happen that you have some leftover pizza dough, from which reason ever. Or it could be the case that you prepare a special dough only for freezing, so to be always prepared to bake a nice pizza if you take then the dough balls out of the freezer. However, for such spontaneous pizza sessions, I made a video, I will link it here, where I show how to make a really proper pizza dough within 4 hours. And in the video description there will be also the link to this video. Generally speaking, you could freeze the pizza dough in each stadium of the dough. You could freeze it after kneading, after the bulk fermentation, after a ball fermentation, as I said, from which stadium ever. You only have after thawing to proceed with the dough at this stadium where you frozen it. For example, I had a bigger pizza party on the last weekend. I have some leftover pizza balls because I make always far more, because it could happen that someone wants to eat 2 pizzas or that a pizza breaks and then I can create a new one. And these pizza balls are now left over and I want to freeze them. These are pizza balls which are already ready for baking. However, they had a bit of overproof already because it was very warm on this day. I reshaped them already and now they are ready for freezing. And now I want to show how I do it. Here are my leftover pizza balls. I know some people are covering these pizza balls right now with olive oil before they put them into such a freezer bag. I think it's not required, it's not necessary. You also could use some semolina, but I also think semolina is also not required. So we take this pizza ball out of the box and then we put the pizza ball directly into this bag. And then, okay, if you have a machine to make a vacuum, the better it is. I don't have such a machine, so therefore I try to press all the air out of this bag, and then I turn the bag to close it, and then I take here, I don't know what the name of this thing is, I take this one and with this strip or however it could be called, I close the bag. And then of course it is important, I think, to note now the date from the freezing day onto this package so that you always know, okay, how old is the dough. And then take the dough and put it into a freezer. How we proceed now with the unfreezing or defrosting of the dough is a bit dependent on the stadium when we have frozen the pizza balls or the bulk. If we freeze the whole dough ball, then of course as soon it's defrosted, we can shape our pizza balls and then we continue there. Or if you have frozen those pizza balls directly after the bulk fermentation, of course, then you defrost them and then you continue exactly with the time what you originally have planned for this kind of dough. In my case, where the dough balls were already ready for baking, even a bit overproofed, I have to thaw them and then I can use them directly. However, I want to wait a bit longer so that the dough balls get room temperature, because then it's easier to stretch them. It would be also possible as soon they are thawed that we bake directly the pizza in a cold stadium of the pizza balls, but then it's also harder to stretch them. What I also wouldn't do, and I will show you this, normally the dough balls in my case are a bit unshaped. It would be the possibility to shape those directly after thawing, but then there is the problem that I have to wait additional minimum 4 hours until the dough is relaxed again. Otherwise, it would be not really good possible to stretch the pizza. So therefore, I will have the dough balls in a bit unshaped shape. But however, I think it might be possible also to shape then afterwards a nice pizza. I will show you this, how I try and how I do this. If you have space in your froster, in your freezer, then it would be also possible to freeze those dough balls in a box, in a ball box. And then as soon they are frosted, you take them in a nice shape then, of course, and put them into packages and freeze or continue freezing. But in my case, I put them in a weak stadium into the packages, and that's the reason why they are not in a nice shape. Here is now the pizza ball, and the pizza ball which I took out directly out of the freezer. And now in a frozen stadium, I take them out of the bag. We do this in a frozen stadium because we have not used any olive oil or any semula, and therefore it's easier to take it out in a frozen stadium. And the good thing is we have not used any oil or any semolina. We can do something for our environment, dry those bags and reuse them. Here I have now the frozen pizza ball, and you can see, as I said, it's a bit unshaped, but it doesn't matter. I put this pizza ball here in the dough ball box, and of course I close the lid, and here I let defrost it at room temperature, and then we can make a pizza. Yeah, and after defrosting of our dough, and after thawing, the dough is now at room temperature. We are ready to bake our nice pizza. My dough, as I already said at the beginning, has a bit of overdue or had already a bit of overproof, and therefore it did not rose too much now in the box, but this doesn't matter. I think in the oven it will raise. And now we make our nice pizza. We do with this dough exactly the same like we do normally with a fresh dough, which means here you can see my pizza balls, and then we take enough semolina. We put enough semolina on top of the pizza ball we want to remove. Then we take our spatula, we release the dough where it's attached either to the side or to a different dough ball. Then we push some semolina underneath the dough. Then we lift the dough out and put it into semolina. Then of course it's important to close the lid to protect the remaining dough ball or dough balls from drying out. And then we flip our dough several times in the semolina. We take it out onto our counter, and then we shape our pizza like we shape a normal Neapolitan pizza, or if you want a Roman pizza, then use a roller pin. However, in a Roman pizza, a Roman style pizza is normally some olive oil in the dough. The pizza does not have its final size right now. This will then be stretched on the peel. Here I have San Marzano tomatoes on 1 can, which is 400 grams, which I have tiered by hand, is 4 grams of fine sea salt. Then we add some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Then I add some leaves of fresh basil. then mozzarella fior di latte. You could also use a normal buffalo mozzarella or use the cheese, whatever you want. Then on this pizza you can see the base is a margherita. I add here some anchovies. Then I add some capers. And some prosciutto cotto, so it's a ham. And now you may wonder why I'm doing not a normal pizza margherita today. This is pretty easy. My wife ordered this kind of pizza. And then some olive oil. And the pizza is ready for the oven. Or it's not ready for the oven, it's ready for the pizza peel. And now, as I said, I stretch the pizza to its final size. And now the pizza is ready for the oven. And here comes the pizza from the frozen dough out of the oven. And now let me directly cut into this pizza. And of course you can see these big air pockets, so no difference to a normal fresh pizza. And now of course I also want to taste this nice pizza, even if this is the pizza for my wife, but I want to taste it and I'm allowed to taste it. At first I taste the center, and this really tastes absolutely great. Wonderful taste, all these different ingredients, absolutely delicious. And now the crust. And you can believe me, also the crust tastes really great, especially in my case, as the dough was already overproofed. If you have issues with making the dough, with some time management or so, it's absolutely no problem, like you saw. Freezing the dough, unfreezing or defrosting it afterwards, baking it, there is almost no difference. If you like my video, it would be fantastic if you would subscribe my channel, and then we see us in the next video. Ciao!